I was saying that with the banks, getting into figuring out who works on the REO side is loss mitigation. You get into one of them. I mean, if you have LinkedIn, you can do a LinkedIn search. But if you can get a hold of one of them, even if it's a community bank, and just say, hey, I'm looking at loss mitigation, or who handles your non-performing real estate assets, right? Potential real estate assets that are going to go south, right? Get a hold of them. The other question you can ask them is, who services your mortgages? Right? A lot of times these lenders don't actually service the loans themselves. Once you get a hold of the servicing people, right, within that group you can say, hey, when you guys have this, who's handling the sort of non-performance or the pursuing of these people who are not paying their mortgages, right? Then you can sort of, traverse that path. Yeah, if you Google a guy, Chris Gullidge, I don't know, I mean, I'm going back 10 years. He was super, super helpful to me. 10 years ago, Chris Gullidge with California National Bank. If you Google him, and I'll try to track down his information as well. He really set the platform for me. EDGE, Gullidge. And what I'll do is I will also send you any bank people that I know, like basically lenders that I know that are sort of in that arena, at least a connection in, right? But if you just put a list together, you go, there's Wells Fargo, there's basically all the big players. Wells Fargo is one of the biggest players with auction.com. Now, if you go back into there's a new offering, go into register to right up at the top of your screen there. Just go back into auction.com. One over. Yeah, register. Yeah, right there. Just actually, you know what, Richard, open up a new screen. Yeah, direct offer, the last one there. So that's another one. That's actually brand new. So I don't know if it's rolled out. So it will be rolled out in Massachusetts soon. Right? This is where you can put direct off. So it's basically what you're talking. Francis, how do I get right in front of a lender? Like, I want my offer to be presented right to the lender, right? That is a way that you can actually directly put an offer, like a purchase and sales, directly to the lender. Yeah, so just click on that, and let's see if there's any that qualify in Massachusetts. Yeah, so there you go. These ones are all direct offers in Massachusetts. Now, I think it's quick turnaround. They're trying to, the banks, when a bank has an asset, it's a non-performing loan, they want to get it off their books, right? And I think the banks have been pressuring them, saying, guys, listen, it's all great that you're going through a 5-day auction and kind of going back and forth, but this whole time we could have been evaluating offers. Just get us the offers. If we like it before the auction, we're just going to get it off our books. We pay, we run the risk of paying more to keep this on our books than just getting rid of it. Yeah, so this is cutting edge. This is like fresh off the press. Yeah, so I mean, this hasn't been around for more than a month. It's a combination of different things, Richard. It's this. It's another one that I've used personally as well is attorneys. So estate attorneys. That's again, it's sort of your local breed, right? So you being in your community, you would know, hey, who handles a lot of these? It's a series of phone calls, and I'd be glad to. I mean, it could be as simple as, putting a profile together. See, the problem with reaching out and emailing people is, I think people are so sick of being bombarded with sales messages and these empty promises of, hey, we buy houses in any condition. I mean, you see them posted all over the place, right? And I don't even see those anymore because I'm just, I don't even pay attention to those anymore. Yeah, because I know, even if you contact them, what they're going to do is it's going to be pennies on the dollar, and they don't even have the ability to close, and it's a joke. But if you can somehow circumvent that and get in front of people that are actually handling these, and they know, hey, Richard has the ability, the capability, and the trust, right, to actually close on this, right? He's not looking for financing in the back end. He's not going to tie up a deal and then go out searching for financing, right? Like, you're already self-funded. You know, they know what your capacity is. I think it's just a matter of reaching out and being, you know, sort of known in your community. You know, in Manchester, I got a few that came in through estates, and those were simply they picked up the phone and called me and said, hey, Francis, we got a 3 family. The father just passed away. The kids don't have, you know, out of state. They're not interested in this. I know you're in that market, and I know either you're interested in it or you may have a client that's interested in it. What would you want to do? I listened to it, and it was such a good deal, I ended up buying it myself. That I wouldn't know. Unoccupied, because, you know, Registry of Deeds is still showing them as the current owner. Right, their mortgages are still current. I mean, have you for your brokerage, Richard? Have you done direct mailers and all that stuff? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily. Yeah, it would be all the brokers. So here's what you could do, right? Let's just say your community zip code that you're interested in is in Plymouth, Mass. I don't know what the population of Plymouth, Mass is. Right? So in Manchester, I did a direct mail piece because my interest was getting clients that have properties that have multifamilies in Manchester. So units were greater than 1, right? So anything 2 units and above, where the registered address was out of state, right? Because that they found me attractive because they lived in Massachusetts or they lived in wherever. Their registered address was not local, because if they were local, chances are they would manage it themselves. Right, and I downloaded that list onto an Excel spreadsheet, and I sent them out direct mailers. So you could do similar, right? Now, yours might be a little bit more harder to pinpoint. You could do Plymouth, Mass, or wherever, right? I would do just the zip. I would go one over the zip of where you're. Oh, no, that, you know what? You clicked on yourself, so. Yeah, no, if you just click on search now again, or go into the zip, yeah, no, you may have to back, yeah, go new search, yeah, and then type it in again, but don't let it, type the zip in, yeah, but don't choose from the drop down, just type it in, there you go. Yeah, you have to be careful that they're not on a do not call list. You'd have to cross-check that number with the do not call registry. Right, which would be a pain. But what you could do is, there's only 37 records here. You could sub this out to, you know, I mean, I could probably get some person to do the legwork and say, hey, all of these, get me an email address. So you basically ship this list out to someone and say, get me a list of email addresses, and then you have a standard email that goes out to these people. Right, and basically, you know, there has to be an intriguing enough message that they would want to call you back. Or the other thing is, Richard, you just pick up the phone and you call them. You go, I mean, there's 37 here, right? You pick up 2 hours in the day and you just call and you go, hey, Beacon Heights, you know, or Beacon Light Real Estate. You know, this is Richard Cullen. I'm a broker in this area. Listen, here's what I'm interested in. See, at the end of the day, your messaging has to be how it's going to impact them as well. Can you double click on the name, Frank Landers? Oh yeah, there's his email address right there. Yeah, and you come up with a standardized email, right, that says, hey, Francis, this is what I'm interested in, right? I'm a cash buyer. Now, you'll have to sort of differentiate yourself, because I've heard, I get half a dozen emails a month from people saying the exact same thing. Hey, I'm a cash buyer. I saw your property in the north end of Manchester and I'm looking to buy, right? And I get it and I rip it up, right? Or I delete it. Yes. And, you know, a phone call doesn't hurt. Hey, I'm a local broker. I just finished up this property. It's fresh off the press. I'd love to work with you. Listen, this is what I'm looking at, right? Oh, of course, Richard. Of course, I love this stuff. I could talk about this stuff all day long. Absolutely. Yeah, so I do that for auction.com. I do seminars, and then independently I consult. So I basically, you know, my main solution is turnkey property management, right? And then I do automation services too. So people who are like, you know, that list, you have a list of 1,000 people. Well, the economies of scale of like just picking up the phone and calling 1,000 people just doesn't make sense. Now when it's 37 people, that's not a big deal, right? I mean, you can do that in an hour. But when it's larger lists and you're trying to really compile everything and make it streamlined, because here's the other thing. Let's say you start reaching out to people and now they're calling you back, but you're also training and you've got a lot of things going on and you're not responding in time. It just created work for yourself and it's a big headache for you. So what I do is I design like basically organized systems where you can, all right, you reach out to people and how do you nurture them down before you actually get onto a phone and connect with them. Yeah, so it's sort of like a semi-automation, but it's customized to your business, you know? So, yeah, that's kind of, yeah, it's the call is not a problem, right? Because, and also, yeah, and it's also, you're not spam calling them, so you're not a RoboCop where you have an automated thing. You're a human being calling them saying, hey, I'm a, now I could do this, I could pick up the phone and say, hey, Francis, I'm an employee of Richard Cullen, right? And I'm with the, what's the name of your company again? Smart Builders. Okay. So let's say Cullen Realty. So I'm with Cullen Realty, and here's what we're looking at. So there's nothing illegal in that because it's, you know, as long as they say, hey, listen, I'm on do not call, don't call me again, you know, I honor that, I'm fine. On those, you know, you can go to the bottom of the email and then you can unsubscribe to it. And they have to honor that unsubscription. So you could always do that. Yeah. If you can just drop me a proposal on what you're thinking, sure. And if you can think through, Richard, and put what your specs are, like what you're thinking about what you want to do. Oh, absolutely. I can have something automated. I can create the direct email piece, you know, and then have it look attractive for sure. Does your company have a website? I am, but I'm not a professional one. More of a, so I'm more of a yogi. I do a lot of yoga now and weightlifting. Yeah. So I used to be a professional squash player. I actually played for Canada. Sort of like you, I don't really talk about it because, you know. Yeah. And then I don't play as much just because of accessibility. There's really not a lot of access to courts around here. So I played a lot in New Hampshire. I played at Phillips Academy down in Massachusetts. Phillips Exeter in Exeter, New Hampshire. And then, so now I do like sort of my maintenance is yoga, I lift, and I walk a lot. And then I'll just pick up whatever sports. You know, I'll ride my bike, I'll do all those things. So, and I used to do triathlon. So again, those I haven't done in quite a few years. I would say probably my most regular routine now is yoga, and it's not regular. It's the hot yoga, right? So you're sweating up a storm. I mean, my flexibility has become really amazing. Oh wow, okay. Have you ever delved into that? You know, if you are inclined to it, there is. Do you have access to YouTube on your TV? If you go onto YouTube and just search, there's two ladies that I really follow and they're really good. And they're good for sort of an introductory yoga. Ali Maz, Allly, and then space Maz. And then the other girl is Briony, BrioHNY, Smith, but Smith with a Y, SMYTH. Yeah, if you just check those two out, pull up a host of different ones, and they have like a 20-minute stretch, right? And you know, you get in there and you're like, oh, this is actually pretty good, and you know, it like. Especially for you, where you're doing different things, like you're doing a lot of the cycling and all that. Sometimes it's refreshing just to do something a little different. Plus you're competitive. You probably have a competitive spirit, so anything you do, you want to be the best, right? And that's why it might be a good time. It might be a good time because you're sort of isolated now, right? So I mean, I do it in my living room. I throw down a mat and I do it, and it's just, you know, Yeah, and I'm competing against myself, so I'm as good as myself. All right, Richard, I better jump off, but I will await your. I mean, you don't have to get too crazy on it, but just tell me, just if you jot down sort of what your intent is. Like, hey, Francis, I want to hit these towns, and I want to be known as the guy that is ready to buy, and I'm not. I want to use the power of, I was a builder, I just did this property, so it adds some legitimacy to it and a good track record. Okay, I thought you were always your sort of model was that you list your own properties. You would list with them, and then would you co-broke or? Yeah, okay, so you would, or a referral. Yeah, I guess it would be a referral fee back to you then, right? Okay. Yeah, I think that would be. Do you have a website for your company? And put all those things if that's your intent, and maybe that's not your intent. Maybe you're like, hey, you know what? Frankly, I don't really care about that. This is the kind of profile I want to build, but ultimately, I just want to get these deals. I want the deal flow coming. Yeah, that's great. And that in itself is sort of a unique. I call it unique selling proposition, right? There's something different about you that's intriguing enough that they would want to do that. Yeah, throw those in. Yeah, throw all of those in, Richard, and I'll kind of dig through. That's where the power of I tend to be creative in those things. I think it's the engineer/entrepreneur in me, and I'll sort of put something together, and I'll come up with something for you.